The Canola School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by Alberta Canola Producers Commission, SAS Canola, and Manitoba Canola Growers.
Calvin Hefner with Real Agriculture, joined by Delantha Fernando of the University of Manitoba, who's done extensive research and work in the area of blackleg in canola. And Delantha, we're starting to see some seed packaging bags with labels on it regarding blackleg resistance. What do those labels mean for a grower trying to interpret and figure out what those labels mean?
Excellent question. The most important part of the labeling system, I think, is the benefit to the farmer. I'll start right off there, because this was something that as a scientist I had been very interested in seeing happening, and it's happening. So that's a great achievement on the part of the canola industry, on the researchers. So what it means is, when you have an identification label of a resistance gene put on the seed packet, the farmer can now make a very good educated guess of what resistance gene he could use in his farm. The reason is, we have now got regional maps of the blackleg pathogen population. So the farmer generally would know, if he didn't particularly have his field mapped for the pathogen population, at least in a regional sense, what that pathogen, blackleg pathogen population avirulence or virulence genes are. Related to that, they can select the label of the R gene that is with the seed industry. So that's the greatest achievement for the farmer, because whatever the science has done is now coming back to the farmer to help him to identify. So the second important point that I want to make on that is that, because the farmer has that opportunity to make those decisions, if he has to go to a tight rotation, he has that opportunity to use another R gene, because it is now seen in the label of the seed packet that he can use, so that he would not get disease of blackleg because he went into a tight rotation. So there are two very useful outcomes out of this new strategy.
Okay. So on the packaging, there are different letters, A, B, C, D, all the way, is it to H,
yes.
I think?
Yeah.
What do those letters mean?
Okay, so what the blackleg steering group did was to very carefully look at what the R genes we had in our what were available through the seed industry, and also we looked at what R genes would be preferable to have, even if we don't have it now, for the industry to find those and have them in their germplasm and finally in the varieties, so that we would have a wider variety of R genes to work with in a R gene rotation strategy. So to do that, and to make it easy for the grower to understand, rather than calling it RLM1, RLM2 or LEPR3, which can be very confusing, we came up with a labeling system with a simple A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So, for example, if you have grown A this year and you are going into a very tight rotation, maybe next year or the following year, better not grow A if you have seen disease in the field, so that you are not allowing the disease to manifest more and have more selection pressure. So you are now going to select from group B or group D, whichever that is available, and you can do those kind of rotations in a very sensible, educated approach.
Okay. You mentioned there are maps, though, that give a regional perspective on which pathogen it is that you should be matching up for, selecting your variety for?
Yes. The question is whether everywhere in the prairies the pathogen population is the same. The answer is no. There are some avirulent genes and virulent genes that are fairly commonly spread out, so we have a very good idea of that. But there are regional differences. So based on the regional differences, what we are now trying to do is put out a map of the blackleg pathogen populations, which will help the farmer. If he or she did not know exactly what they had in their field, they can now look at this profile and make use of that regional understanding. It's just like the weather-based forecast. Mm-hmm. So the best thing would be, from some of the work myself and Dr. Bohan has been doing, developing these what is called CASP markers. They will eventually let you to immediately identify the pathogen population very easily in the field. When that happens, I think the farmer will have another tool to play with, because it has been now tested in these seed company, the testing, the independent seed testing companies like 2020, BioVision, PSI and all, and it's proven to be very successful. So once that tool is available to the farmer, that will be another very easy method for the farmer to know exactly what pathogen profile they have in the field.
Yeah. So then you know what you have in your field, and you can choose your variety based on what you have in your field.
Right on. Yeah, right on. Yeah, so that's exactly. So we already are almost there with both sides, but if that is not available from the pathogen side yet, then you go to the regional maps and understand that. Yeah.
Do you know where that's at in terms of the testing? I know we could talk to, he's here as well, so we can talk to him, but do you know where it's at?
So as far as I know, these markers were given to different testing labs, and all have come out with almost 100% accuracy. So this is really good news moving forward. So by sending a sample from your field to these testing companies, they will be able to get results very quickly for a small fee and get these identified. So the idea was for the research to flow right into the growers and help the growers by getting these tested very easily.
Okay. Do you have any idea how often a grower might want to test for it, because the pathogens can change that you have in your field?
So very good question. Now, if you are doing so again, I should go back a little bit and say the best strategy is to still stick with your crop rotation. Before you get on to our gene rotation. Crop rotation has worked for years in every disease, so use your cereals and other non-hosts. But if you are economically driven to have a tighter rotation, then you have that opportunity to select the R gene through the labeling system, as well as monitor your pathogen population change and get a valid identity of those pathogen profiles from your field through the CASP marker system that is being developed.
All right. Well, thanks for taking the time to join us and to explain for us, Delanta. Thank you.
Thank you.